I'm very excited today to host Cully Cavness and Chase Lochmiller, both of Crusoe Energy. This is going to be a fascinating and open-ended conversation about cryptocurrency, energy, computer science, quant finance, the environment, and maybe a little bit of mountaineering as well. Guys, welcome to Real Vision.
Thanks for having us. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks, Ash.
Chase, let's jump in and start with you. Tell us a little bit about your story. You've led a fascinating life.
Thank you. So Cully and I actually grew up together. We went to high school together in Colorado. Went to a high school called Kent Denver. And after leaving to go to college, I went to MIT as an undergrad and studied math and physics there. And my original plan was to actually be a theoretical physicist, was kind of what I set out to be, and did a couple summers of research and found out that space moved incredibly slowly, and I had a lot of energy and kind of wanted to get involved in something that moved a little bit at a little bit faster pace. So ended up going into the field of quant finance, which was sort of an academic but very fast moving space, where I was a quant portfolio manager building large scale AI and machine learning models with massive data sets. And then building, inference models that would sort of forecast securities prices, and then we would capitalize on those with, automated trading strategies that we would build out. So capitalized on it with, various high frequency and statistical arbitrage strategies, and that was kind of it was a fun adventure for a decade. But at some point I was kind of uninspired by a lot of the work I was doing. And wanted to, explore something else. And I also did a grad school at Stanford as well. So I did a master's degree at Stanford in computer science with a focus on artificial intelligence. So that was like a lot of what I was focused on doing as a quant. And, I ended up, as many say, kind of going down the crypto rabbit hole and, getting really excited about, what was being built out, both from this base layer of a monetary financial ecosystem with what was happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem, as well as what was happening across innovations across other cryptocurrencies that were being built, like the Ethereum blockchain, where they were enabling smart contracts and just a bunch of really, really new technologies that I thought were transformative for society. So ended up meeting a gentleman named Olaf Carlson-Wee, which I think you just had on your show.
Yes.
And Olaf's a great guy. He had just left Coinbase when I met him, and he was starting a hedge fund that was investing exclusively in digital assets and cryptocurrencies. And at the time, this was a very, very unique, innovative idea. There weren't crypto focused hedge funds, and I thought it was a great opportunity for me to partner with him and leverage a lot of my skill set around understanding financial markets and market microstructure, while also being paired up with one of the best people in the world as far as understanding this new asset class that was being built out in the cryptocurrency world. And so spent 2017 there, and we had kind of a crazy ride, growing tremendously through the ICO boom. We were kind of in the center of the world for all of that happening.
I actually talked to you guys in 2017 when I was working at CoinDesk as a reporter, and I remember the first time I actually heard about Web 3.0 was from someone at your shop.
Oh, cool! Yeah, was it Ryan Zur maybe?
It was indeed Ryan. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, those were fun early days in the ecosystem. And it felt like, this space got a little ahead of itself. It was kind of like, oh my God, blockchain's going to, revolutionize commerce and, change everything and, save the baby seals and, whatever. It was just kind of it got a little bit ahead of itself. But I think it was an important moment for this technological shift because it brought a lot of attention to the space. It brought capital to the space. And most importantly, it brought talent to the space. And you're seeing a lot of the fruits of the labor from the talent migration that we saw in 2017 being born today with a lot of innovations that are sort of taking place across the whole landscape. So, I ended up anyway, back to my story. So I ended up leaving Polychain in 2018 to pursue a personal dream of mine, which was climbing Mount Everest. I grew up near the mountains in Colorado, and I was always inspired by wanting to, climb the tallest mountain in the world. I had a middle school teacher who had a husband named Eric Weinmayer that was the first blind man to climb the 7 summits. And he was training for this at the time when she was my teacher. And I got to spend a lot of time with him and, his seeing eye dog. And I was just really inspired by him as like a human being, like going after this like amazing challenge and doing it, without being able to see. So I just that always stuck with me. And it was kind of a personal passion of mine.
These 7 summits you make reference to, of course, are the 8,000 meter summits in the world, which I think hadn't been climbed by a sighted person until the 1950s. I mean, this is an extraordinary accomplishment.
So it's actually there's 14 8,000 meter peaks. That's a different challenge. There's the 7 summits is the highest peak on each continent. So it's so not all of those are 8,000 meters. It's also a difficult challenge, not nearly as challenging as the 14 8,000 meter peaks, because those are all mostly in the Himalaya.
Chase, this is why I host a show about crypto and not mountaineering.
I just saw this show where it's called Welcome to Earth. It's on National Geographic, and Will Smith and Eric Weinmayer, the first episodes, they go to this volcano, and they are basically walking down into the caldera of a boiling volcano, and you don't realize until halfway into the show that it's Eric Weinmayer, and he can't see. He's just like listening to these missiles being fired out of the volcano, and they're kind of like dodging bombs of magma.
That's insane. The guy's really incredible. I mean, he got into like whitewater rafting and or whitewater kayaking, and I think he kayaked down the entire Colorado River like through really crazy terrain, just being blind. I mean, the guy's a superhuman, but very, very inspiring nonetheless. So that was a dream of mine, and so I set out to do that. Spent a couple months in Nepal, and actually summited. I actually took a Bitcoin flag to the summit. It's kind of the Bitcoin was able to go to the top of the world. It was pretty exciting moment for the space. But anyway, while I was up there, I was thinking a lot about kind of what I wanted to do next, and I was really inspired by working on this infrastructure layer of computing, because I had sort of seen this whole thing play out with artificial intelligence really gaining a lot of traction in like the 2010s, and seeing that mostly unfold on the back of increased access to significant data sets and cheaper cost of computation. So like those two factors are the things that really drove a lot of the innovations taking place in AI and deep learning that have unlocked a lot of value for society at large. And I was a big believer that those two forces were going to continue to propel humanity forward, innovating within the field of AI. And then on the secondary, the second piece that I was really inspired by was just witnessing this global monetary ecosystem being completely rewritten, and that being powered fundamentally by this base layer of computation that was entirely distributed, entirely decentralized, and entirely permissionless. That it was just a really exciting moment to feel like this is the space, and that's sort of the layer that I want to be working on, is that infrastructure layer of computing. And I'll let Cully give maybe his background, but I ended up coming back from Mount Everest, and shortly thereafter, Cully and I ended up starting Crusoe Energy on the back of some of the thoughts that I was having, as well as some of the thoughts that he was kind of having at the time, which I'll let him sort of share his journey in getting to founding our company.
So, Cully, that's quite a toss. You too also have a fascinating background, an incredibly interesting life, very different. Tell us a little bit about your story. You guys obviously have known each other since you were kids. Tell us about your journey and how you guys got back together to found this company.
Yeah, happy to do it. And I've got to say, Ash, this is exciting. I'm a big Real Vision fan. I've been watching for a couple of years now, so I'm excited to finally be here and talk with you.
It's true. He's always, all my catch-ups, Cully's like, oh my God, I was listening to this episode of Real Vision last night, and they had this guest on, and then he'll like go down this long, thread with me, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. So he's definitely like not lying when he says he's a huge fan of the show.
Hey, if you like this clip, be sure to check out the full interview and more only on realvision.com/crypto. It's 100% free. Sign up now.